So it seems quite clear and obvious to me that the vast majority of media functions just to keep people in constant conflict, constant agitation. The conflict can be internal and both external, meaning constantly afraid, constantly in fight or flight, constantly just agitated and basically not at ease in any way, shape, or form. And people on both sides, whether left or right, are quick to demonize and put down anyone that doesn't fit into their pre prescribed reality. And they're quick to defend just as blindly and just as fervently whoever is coming from that place or whoever is coming from their pre agreed upon reality. And basically, both people are just quick to jump to conclusions, justifications, and knee jerk emotional reactions without ever taking any time to understand the wider context, without taking any time to understand whether or not what they're being told, what they're believing, what they're thinking is actually true, or if it's just some kernel of truth that's then been twisted into something completely different. And the moral of the story is that blind obedience to a false sense of moral superiority because of an identification with some kind of ideology is in reality the opposite of progress. It is the opposite of intelligence. And it is large in part just keeping people in a low state of functioning, stuck in fight or flight, and in more or less constant conflict with themselves and in constant conflict with the world, because these things tend to go together. And it's very shocking how very few people actually realize this, and how very few people actually realize that they are very oftentimes engaged in behaviors that are actively creating the very outcomes that they claim to be against. So they're basically enthusiastically participating in their own demise on both sides of the spectrum. And we could break down many different historical events that have proven this to be true, but I'll just leave it in a fairly general sense for you to think about and make up your own mind and really reflect on how strong our biases are as humans and how little we're able to actually hear and understand from perspectives that we may or may not agree with, or we may or may not even understand, and how much we're actually just emotionally reacting based on whatever we previously think, feel, and believe.